John Pollock here on the Fight Network. We are joined by Adam Cole here as Ring of Honor returning here to Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And Adam, it's been quite the year for yourself, including getting to go over to Japan. That has to have been pretty cool recently with all the stuff that's going on with New Japan and Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe my year thus far has been just a giant roller coaster ride. I mean, going from being the longest reigning PWG World Championship, losing that title, recently losing my ROH World title to Michael Elgin. Many people would say, oh, this is the downward spiral for Adam Cole. But then I got the chance to work for New Japan Pro Wrestling, which was a dream come true. I mean, you get to wrestle Jushin Thunder Liger in a dome in front of that many people. For me, that will always be a special place in my heart.
Let's chat a bit about PWG. For those not familiar, the Battle of Los Angeles just wrapped up, probably the biggest independent tournament every single year. What were the shows like last year? And describe the American Legion post in Reseda, California, which has just become the hottest place to watch pro wrestling, it feels like.
Yeah, PWG has caught magic in that small building in Reseda, man. Those fans are completely out of their minds, completely insane. They love pro wrestling, they love PWG, and we love them. So we always go out and try to give them the best show possible. And those 3 nights, man, it's going to be really, really tough for PWG to top that.
Now, one of your stablemates down there in PWG, Kevin Steen, recently making the move over. Have you had a chance to speak with Kevin just before going there and kind of where his head's at right now? Someone that, I mean, for years, I think, was ready for that big step and finally getting to make it now.
Well, there's a key word that you said right there, and it's ready. I speak to Kevin pretty frequently, and he's ready to go, man. He's more ready than ever to show the entire world what we know, and that's how special Kevin Steen is. So he's going to be just fine.
You also got the headline Ring of Honor's pay-per-view back in June with Michael Elgin, the pay-per-view. I mean, you guys are doing another one later this year, so clearly a success. Was there a lot of pressure on kind of your shoulders with Michael there headlining that spot on traditional pay-per-view and hoping to bring in a lot of new eyeballs or people that hadn't watched Ring of Honor in some time?
For sure, I think so. I mean, there's always pressure, but then you add pay-per-view into the mix and it makes everything a little more under the microscope, as you'd say. And but really for me and for the entire team, we all felt like we were ready for this opportunity. Ring of Honor going to pay-per-view to me was a long time coming. So we had a big shot that night to knock it out of the park, and I think we did.
How would you categorize the state of just the independent scene right now? I mean, outside of Ring of Honor, when it comes to PWG, it just seems that there's so much talent right now and a lot of big shows that are happening right now. It seems to be in a really healthy position.
It's definitely on an upswing. I mean, you can sense it in people talking amongst themselves. You can tell by the attendance at shows. People are excited to watch exciting independent wrestling. And there's promotions all across the country who are doing really, really well, Ring of Honor specifically, and no one really shows any plan to slowing down.
And I thought you and Liger just did a tremendous job in New York City. It was just such a great story to that match, which was just, here's the aging veteran going after that world title. I thought you two were fantastic in that match, and it was just putting Liger in just a different light than you've seen him for quite a while if you follow New Japan. Not really a question, but I think you guys just really did a tremendous job, and having to close out that show in New York when people had seen so much.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And, kind of like what you touched based on, that match was more of a moment. Yeah. It's the idea of this old veteran who's done so much to the sport will be remembered forever, not only in Japan, but all across the world for what he's done for pro wrestling. And then there's this young, cocky upstart who's going to take it to him, and maybe Liger can win the big one, or maybe Adam Cole's going to shut him down. It was just a really cool, fun story to do in New York City.
Is it a nice thing as well to have, because I thought Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino did such a great job of getting that story across that you don't have to have that worry in your mind, is that the story we're telling is it being properly conveyed. You've got two guys that understood that story and I think added so much to the match.
Oh, they're two of the best. I actually formulate a lot of my matches based off guessing what those guys are going to say because they're such good storytellers. I oftentimes think that as great as a pro wrestling match is, what makes one outstanding is when the pro wrestlers are on point, when the referee's on point, when the commentary team's on point, when the fans are on point.
Right.
Everything, the stars have to align. And, we have a great commentary team, and they really, really help tell the stories for our wrestlers.
And last thing, let's just touch upon the Seibu Dome. I mean, that has to be a career highlight for yourself going in. I mean, you knew it was going to be a big show, but actually being there in the match and just seeing this stadium full of wrestling fans had to have been a cool moment off your bucket list.
Yeah, to be honest, man, it was almost too big to process. Like, walking out on that giant stage and seeing all these people, so far away, it almost felt like I was wrestling in front of nobody. But I think that was because I was so nervous and I was so in the zone, focused on what was going on. And then, going back and watching the tape, that's when it really hit you of how special that night was. And that's got to go down as my favorite moment in pro wrestling so far.
Is it a big difference going from the arena setting to a baseball stadium like say the Seibu Dome? Is it a different dynamic when it comes to putting together a match like that?
For sure. Well, the sound definitely travels different. Here you'll hear instant gratification if they like something. In a stadium, you have to really get them rocking to hear anything. So oftentimes it's really hard to gauge what they're into, what they're not into. But like I said, then you'll go back and watch the tape and you'll notice, oh, they were really into this. So working those bigger shows is definitely, for me, more challenging to gauge the audience and get them to do what you want to do.
And do you expect to be going back there anytime soon? Anything you can hint at?
I certainly hope so. Let's just say the first go-around went very, very well, and I hope to be returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling very soon.
Fantastic. Anything you want to let out for our viewers? How to support Adam Cole online? Anything you've got going on, Twitter, anything like that?
Sure, yeah. I have a website. It's www.adamcolepro.com. On there's my schedule. I have T-shirts, DVDs, all that stuff's available. And then if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @AdamColePro.
Sweeping the nation and the world by storm. He is Adam Cole. Thank you very much for the time.
Thanks, man.